Since YouTube was founded back in 2005, countless channels have been created by road enthusiasts interested in documenting the roads of North America and their travels along the way. But one channel founded recently is bucking the trend by offering more wide-ranging content with a broader, travel-based theme. 504 Road Trips was founded in January 2016. It chronicles the roads of Louisiana and the Gulf Coast region, as well as other topics such as tours of historic sites, hotel reviews, and tours of local neighborhoods. In their first year, they have uploaded over 100 videos and stand to add at least as many in the coming year for an ever-growing number of destinations. Joining me now from New Orleans to talk about their work are the co-founders of 504 Road Trips and travel enthusiasts Jason and Kari. And I am pleased to have them here. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What led you to start this YouTube channel? How did that come about?
Well, we do a lot of road trips. That's just something that we like to do. That's an interest that we share, and I had a dash cam.
Yeah, actually, the road trips started first. We pretty much, if you can drive someplace instead of flying there, getting there is half the fun. And since we're having so much fun getting there, we got a dash cam and we decided to video it and share it with the poor people that have to fly.
Your expectations for this when you started, I mean, you've mentioned in your one-year anniversary video, for example, that you didn't really know what to expect when you started it. Is that true necessarily, or talk about that a little bit, what you were thinking about when you started?
I had zero expectations. I still have no expectations. I'm shocked that there are over 100 people that watch our videos. I'm honored. But
Yeah, we didn't really know what to expect as far as, we knew there were some people that would be interested in watching a video of us driving around, but we didn't realize that there was that many people that would just continually come back and watch the videos, and it's a very specialized interest group, but I guess there are a lot of people that want to see this kind of thing.
and it makes me want to do them more, and it makes me want to make them better, I guess.
Yeah, that's the kind of thing, like you do your initial content and then you see you're getting feedback from people, and that kind of starts a reciprocating process where you say, hey,
Exactly.
people are watching this, people like this, so this kind of gives you the confidence to kind of go ahead and do more things. And
It's the inspiration to keep going and do more.
Now, I noticed when you did your one-year anniversary thing, you made reference to a group of urban explorers that you were very interested in. You watched their content a lot, and that was really an inspiration for you starting your channel. As someone who's interested in that topic myself, I'm kind of curious as to what that was like for you. What was kind of the moment where the light bulb went off and said, hey, let's start it?
Well, there's no actual tie-in between urban exploration and what we do. It was just something that we both had been following for years. Before I even knew it was on YouTube, I used to look at the websites that just had pictures of urban exploration, and then when I met Kari, she pointed out to me that there was a lot of urban exploration videos on YouTube, and that was a foreign concept to me, that people would take videos in these abandoned places. So we started watching them, and just when we saw the number of followers that some of these people had on YouTube, we realized, well, maybe there's something we can do.
We don't have the guts to do urban exploration. I see the abandoned. There are a lot of abandoned homes in this area, unfortunately.
Abandoned skyscrapers.
Yeah, several, actually.
Right.
Really tall ones. Mm-hmm. But I don't have the nerve to do urbex. I would love to do it, but so I guess this is what our contribution.
But what inspired us was the fact that these people put these channels together and people actually watched, and we wanted to do something similar to that, even if it was on a completely different subject. Now, some of the urban explorers that we watch travel around, and that was part of inspiration also, because they'll do road videos sometimes, and they're just going different places, and that's what we like to do.
The content on your page is atypical for most road channels. A major difference is that in addition to the traditional road trip videos, where you do time lapse and you cover a certain amount of distance, in a given video, you also do hotel reviews. You do detours, which is, like a
Anything.
separate, which could be it could be anything, right?
Well, it's anything that doesn't fit the main format of the channel, we call a detour. That way, if we want to throw in, pictures of a cat show,
Yeah, that might happen.
that'll be a detour. And if somebody that doesn't want to,
Foreshadowing
Yeah.
a possible future video, maybe?
well, if somebody's just interested in watching road trips, they can skip the detours.
Right.
And, if somebody happens to search the subject matter that we have in the detours and wants to watch it, then,
Cat show.
So
they might be interested in something else we have on our
Yeah.
channel, so that brings more people in, just to
Yeah.
share the channel with other people.
So the idea was to film, a bunch of different things, and that's how these ideas came about? Or,
When we drive, we're not just driving for the sake of driving. We're driving to a destination, and sometimes the destination is something that somebody else might think is cool. So we've, we have to stay overnight. So we decided to do the hotel review.
And the whole point of the hotel reviews is I've had a couple of horrible hotel experiences because I didn't check reviews, I didn't read TripAdvisor, and just wound up in the motel from hell. And we want to share the hotels that we stay in because we check them very carefully to make sure that they're nice. But we want people to be able to see that they're nice hotels. If you go on to Jackson, Mississippi, search Jackson, Mississippi hotels, and my video of the Embassy Suites might pop up, and you'll be able to see it's a nice hotel. We don't go to the filthy places. We leave that kind of thing to Dan Bell, because he goes specifically to the dirty
Filthy
hotels
places.
to show us how filthy they are. But
this is Dan Bell on
Yeah.
YouTube,
Yes,
right?
Yeah.
this is
Okay.
Dan Bell.
yeah,
Another
we watch
dirty
his
room.
dirty rooms religiously. But no, we just want to be able to people to be able to search the hotels that we've stayed at and see, this is what they have at this hotel, and it's a nice place, and it's safe to stay there because it's not going to be a dump.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Something else I like that you guys are doing is your New Orleans neighborhood tours. Where's that come from? What's behind that?
504 Road Trips is centered around the New Orleans area. 504 is the telephone area code of New Orleans.
Mm-hmm.
So, being that we're centered around New Orleans, we wanted to showcase as much of New Orleans as we could, and although we've kind of run out of the main drags to drive, if we travel through the neighborhoods, and there's another 50 or so to go, we can make a lot of separate videos about each different neighborhood of New Orleans, and it's going to provide specific content about each video, and it's just something else that people might be interested in seeing if they're interested in things that have happened in New Orleans or different areas.
And plus, I'm a fairly recent transplant to New Orleans. I don't know my way around here at all. So even, making these videos, I may have never been to that part of New Orleans. So making the videos actually kind of teaching me how to navigate around town.
Yeah. Your first videos, I went all the way back to the beginning when you uploaded your first when you uploaded your first videos, and I noticed that the way that you present your content has changed.
Well, we didn't know what we were doing.
Right.
We had no idea what we were doing.
But the way that you presented it from day one up until now has changed quite a bit.
Well, yeah, because we realized we didn't know what we were doing, and we watched our own videos, and we're like, well, this is horrible. We need to make some adjustments here about how we do this, and it's going to take a half hour to drive down the street. Nobody has that kind of attention span to sit there and watch this for a half hour, so we need to speed it up a little bit. We need to kill the sound and quit trying to talk to the camera, because the camera just doesn't pick up sound that well, and you're trying to think of stuff to say on the spur of the moment, you come out sounding like you don't know what you're talking about. So,
We can at
we
least
speed it up, we
pretend
do a
that we know
voiceover
we're
afterwards.
talking about
Well,
by
yeah.
doing it that
We
way.
look it up, and
Yeah.
we look things up, and we give correct information and give the relevant facts. And when we don't have anything to say, we shut up and we let the background music play, and then there's something to, so you're not sitting there watching in dead silence. And it's just it's constantly evolving. We're as we see how bad some things are, then we fix them, and then people give us suggestions in the comments, and we'll make adjustments based on those too. So it's going to constantly evolve, it's going to constantly change, and we're going to constantly improve things. And we just want to make our videos as watchable as possible.
You see this as a process of creating your own identity? Because, I mean, when most people start out on YouTube, they don't really know what the end game is for them. And I imagine
True,
the feeling is similar for you both when you started. So do you kind of see this as a means of kind of winding your way towards a final vision of what you want your presentation to be like?
Well, we don't.
Or does that not occur to you
I
at
would
all?
like-
Well, no. Go ahead.
It actually it doesn't. I just want it. When I watch YouTube, some of these I watch all kinds of videos, different genres, and some of them I will sit and watch and say, "Wow, I wasted. I will never get those 7 minutes and 38 seconds back." And I didn't fast forward through any of it. Well, I guess the end game for me would be I want to make a video that will never make some person say, I just wasted those 7 minutes and 38 seconds. I want my 7 minutes and 38 seconds to be something that is interesting. Mm-hmm. And we're not there yet, but we're getting there. And I guess that's my goal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, for the people that are interested in this, I think that they'll watch that 7 minutes and 38 seconds. The people that are going to want that 7 minutes and 38 seconds back aren't going to be watching this to begin with, because it's just not something that they're interested in. But the people that are interested, we want to keep interested. And however that ends up being, like I said, I don't see an end game. I just see trying to improve things as we go. Mm-hmm. It'll change as it comes along. It may never settle in on anything, on any specific format or identity.
Mm-hmm. Talk about the process of filming and editing one of your videos. Now take, for example, the video that you uploaded today, US 61 from Baton Rouge on North, for instance. What's the general process like as far as filming and editing goes?
Well, we usually will decide to take a trip somewhere, and we'll take
Now, who decides that? Is that a coin flip?
No, that's just, we just talk about it, and
Yeah.
we'll say next week we're going, we'll just decide at some point that next week we're going somewhere. And she'll say, I want to go somewhere, or I'll say, I want to go somewhere, and the other says, okay.
Or we'll say,
Really?
we haven't gone up
So
this road yet, let's go
Yeah.
to
It's
some
rare that
town
we'll come
that's
up with two different
someplace.
places.
Yeah.
Where we have to argue about which place we're going to go. Usually it's one of us just comes up with an idea, and it could be either one of us. It doesn't really matter. It's just, if it sounds like something that people might be interested in, we just go.
So really, the two of you are kind of, it's like a joint effort as
As
far as the planning
creativity
and
goes,
yeah,
Yeah.
okay, yeah.
Because that's a big part of the creativity, is deciding where to go.
And
Yeah.
see, the last video that we uploaded actually was part of a video that started we started just north of Laplace, and we drove all the way to Jackson, just north of Jackson actually. But, spoiler alert, this was supposed to be a short trip up 61. We were supposed to get there, it was a reasonably quick trip, but it had snowed.
I saw that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw you allude to
That's
that.
something
Yeah.
we've never
Yes.
really encountered.
Not down
What
here.
is the snowplow? What is that? I've never seen that before.
Well,
We've
the
never seen it
snowplow
before
was-
either. We don't know what it is. She's seen
Snowplow.
it. She's from North Dakota. She's seen snowplows. So she might be able to explain
Yeah,
that.
but the snowplow is useless here because we have reflectors on the road, and it came,
Right.
the day after the snow, and it was sunny that day, so it
Right.
just was driving down the
Yeah,
road.
they were just out cruising is all it was.
They
weren't
borrowed it from
plowing
somewhere.
anything. They're just riding around so they can say I'm riding around in a snowplow.
But that was once we got to a certain point, and this, we're gonna go a little forward about, it's Jason who usually drives. I usually navigate.
I get motion sickness if somebody
Okay.
else is driving. And
Oh, really?
For instance, yeah. And for instance, today, if it was very windy, if she would have been driving, it wouldn't have been pretty because when you got your hands on the wheel, you feel the feedback. When this gust of wind blows your car a little bit, you counter steer and you correct it, and you kind of, your brain can account for that. When you're in the passenger seat and all of a sudden everything sways to one side,
Yeah.
for me, that just turns my stomach, and so I do most of the driving.
So that is why you do most of the driving.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was curious if the two of you like flipped a coin beforehand to see who drives, or if there was some sort of elaborate.
No.
No,
She
I
always
just-
drives,
it
and
is
I
the-
always
it
navigate.
is.
Yep.
Unless I'm really exhausted.
It is
I
that simple.
drive, yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
So anyway, back to the process that you go through. So you film. So you've already decided where you're going to go, right?
Yep,
And you
and
go
it's-
out and you
We drive there. Yeah.
film it, right?
Yep.
And
And then we break it into pieces. And actually, Jason is much better with the computer than I am because he has better editing software. He's a PC, I'm a Mac.
Well, there's your
And
first
you
problem.
think she would have the better editing software, but I've never been able to make her Mac edit video, and I've never really tried for the software that I have.
And I
works better
really
on the PC.
I don't know, I could learn how to use it better than I have, but I don't think the videos would be very good at all if I was editing because you would see little, things, the graphics would be drawn on paint, by
Yeah.
hand. So
Yeah.
we'll leave that to him.
And I'm in the printing business, so I can create the road shields and the little signs
Okay.
and stuff and everything that.
Yeah.
It makes it a lot easier for me to create the stuff that appears on the screen.
Yeah.
With the software that I have. So I do all the editing, and it's a matter of deciding how fast the video needs to run so that the video doesn't run too long because you want to
Right.
be able to keep everybody's attention. And
So that's one thing we've learned. Over 10 minutes is too much. So we try to
That's-
we
yeah,
try to break
in
our
most
videos
cases,
up
yeah.
to be less than
Yeah.
10 minutes.
that way you feed it to the viewers in smaller bites. We upload on a schedule. We upload every Tuesday, every Thursday, and every Sunday.
Okay.
Sometimes Saturday, but every weekend. So we upload 3 videos a week, and we upload on that schedule. So all that pressure is to just create one video every few days. That way I'm not editing videos 24 hours a day.
Right,
I do have
yeah.
other stuff that I have to do. So
Yeah.
And that's not fun.
prevents
This
us
is
from
fun.
having to-
It's,
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, the fun part is the driving, not the editing. But
Yeah.
Right.
but I like going through and researching, and she helps me out with that sometimes, is finding different points of interest along the drive. We put together the voiceover, and then we try to take turns on the voiceover, but sometimes I'll be working on this at work during the day, and I need to have the video uploaded to keep on my schedule, and she's not there, so I'll have to I'll have to voice over a couple of videos in a row, but for the most part, we take turns on voiceovering
Right.
the videos.
Yeah. So it doesn't really. There's nothing really there between you two as far as deciding who narrates the video. It's just kind of like, I'll narrate
If
it
she's
today.
available
or,
to
you know.
narrate the video, if I'm working on it at home, I usually try to get her to narrate the video because
Yeah.
I think she has a better voice than I do for it.
Disagree, but
Yeah, I mean,
thank you.
I don't want to confuse people with my New Orleans accent too much, where she speaks with that northern accent, which everybody can understand.
Yeah, but if people are seeing something about New Orleans, they're going to expect a southern accent, which mine is decidedly not.
Well, true,
Well,
but
yeah.
some people just can't understand the New Orleans accent, and I have to concentrate very hard to speak in a language that everybody can understand.
Huh.
Otherwise, I can fall into Yat speak or, something like that, and nobody would know what I'm talking about.
Okay, you guys.
Switch gears for a couple minutes here. Just a general question. You guys are in New Orleans,
Yes.
and New Orleans is obviously, you're in hurricane country, let's be honest.
Yeah.
It's been 11 years since Katrina hit. Are you tired of talking about the storm?
We don't go out of our way to talk about it anymore, but it comes up. It's always going to come up. It's something that's always in the back of everybody's mind that was here. Before Katrina, it was Hurricane Betsy, which was in the 60s, and that was my parents' generation. They all went through Hurricane Betsy, and nobody talks about Betsy anymore, but that's because it was overshadowed by Katrina.
Yeah.
So it's something that's always going to be there. If somebody asks about it that doesn't know a whole lot about it, yeah, I could talk for 2 hours and tell you all kind of stuff about it. And I wasn't here for it. I got out of town, but it's still, we had to come back to it and what was left behind. And so it's something that's always going to be there. It's not going to go away until the next one comes through, and then that'll be the one that everybody's going to talk about.
I didn't live here yet when it happened. I had family here, and they lost everything. But I feel like if we talk about Katrina just for the sake of talking about Katrina, it's not really giving respect to the people that were victims of Katrina, or those that lost everything in Katrina.
Yeah.
So, if we're going through a neighborhood, and part of our trip, as that happens to have been really badly damaged by Katrina, and there are still a lot of them around that you can tell are still have not recovered.
Yeah, I did a lot of driving the other day through Plaquemines Parish and the Delta area, like Eastern St. Bernard Parish, and as incredible as it is to see how some places have bounced back quite a bit, you can see where there are areas where things are still, in rough shape, and
In some places, they're never going to come back. A lot of places have just been abandoned.
yeah,
So,
yeah. So you find that Katrina is still very alive and well in the consciousness of the community.
it always will be.
It's yeah.
For anybody that stayed here through the storm, or even people like me who evacuated, and that was something we never had to do before, it was a very traumatic experience for all of us, and it's always going to be in the back of our mind, and it's also going to be in the back of our mind of what happens the next time a storm like that heads for us.
Yeah.
And, what are we going to do? Or are we ever going to come back? Because there's only so many times that you're going to go through that kind of thing.
Yeah.
We didn't lose everything in the storm. We didn't flood, but, a tornado touched down right by our house and blew all the trees down on top of the house. So we had to replace the roof, and everything inside the house was wet. And, we had to live in darkness for 3 weeks because there was no electricity and they couldn't turn it back on. And, for
And you
months.
had it good.
Yeah, we had it
compared to
good.
others.
Well, yeah,
Compared
you
to
guys
people
were.
that had 15 feet of water over
Yeah.
their roofs,
Yeah.
and the people that are below sea level that just their neighborhoods just filled up. But yeah, it's not ever going to go away completely.
You mentioned the people who suffered, and I was in the Superdome last night, for the Monster Jam event.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I just wanted to go in the dome. I didn't really
Right.
care about the event
Well,
inside.
that's how you get into the dome.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
so it's the only way to get in. You have to pay to get.
But that was one thing that kind of struck me is realizing that this is where I watched on the news all these people stranded at the dome, and I'm here. I'm where this happened.
Yeah.
And that was a very powerful moment for me.
It's been the whole interior has been stripped and completely redone since then. So I've been in the dome one time, no, twice since Katrina, and you wouldn't even think you're in the same building that you were in
Really?
prior to Katrina. Yeah, everything is so drastically different. I hadn't been in there since probably the mid-'90s before Katrina, but it's drastically different. So yeah, I mean, it is where all that stuff took place, and all those people were holed up in there for days, and you hear all kind of horrible stories about things that happened in there, and a lot of people's lives were saved because they were in the Superdome. But
when you see
I
how
kinda
huge
think-
that place is, and you
Oh, it's
imagine
enormous.
all of the
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
that were in there, and they were forced to stay there for days,
For days.
with no air
yeah.
conditioning, and yeah, I can't imagine.
I think
Yeah.
when they renovated the place, though, that it kind of cleansed the building of.
So to speak.
Yeah, it's like it's not the same place.
Yeah.
And that's maybe
Yeah.
partly why they did such a dramatic rehab of it.
Yeah,
Maybe
I think that's something they had to
consciously
remove the
cleanse
reminder
it.
That's
of. Yeah.
kind of part of the, the rebirth of the city is to kind of, renew everything
Exactly.
Right.
in a way. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you got it there.
Yeah. You see what you're doing with your YouTube page in a sense, an effort to document history? Because you do, in a lot of your videos, Katrina does get mentioned, whether it is just an allusion to it or, for example, when you drove US 90 in Mississippi, there were a lot of times when Katrina came up, whether it was you were talking about
Right.
landmarks,
Or
with
missing
relation to the storm,
landmarks.
or right. Is that kind of something that you see as an objective?
Well, I
what
mean,
you do?
Everything that we do is to document the way things are now. We talk about things that happened in the past, and Katrina's going to come up anytime we're anywhere where, historically it's known for having been hit by Katrina, because it does need to be documented. I wish I had video of the Mississippi Gulf Coast
month
before
Oh.
Katrina.
Oh, yeah.
I was
yeah.
there a month before Katrina,
Yeah.
and I
Were you?
remember it in my mind, but I will never be able to show anybody. I will never be able to,
Yeah.
show somebody who has never been there all of the buildings, all of the businesses
Yeah.
that were there on the coast, where there are now
Like I
empty fields, and probably
Yeah.
will be for decades.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was kind of part of my objective in coming here was to document the history, and I kind of feel the same way you do, and I kind of wish I was here 12 years ago to do this, and driving around the little towns in the Delta, like in Venice on the West Bank or Point Elahash on the East Bank, seeing the remains of the parish courthouse in that town. It kind of all came back to the idea of, hey, you're not just doing videos of roads, you're kind of documenting history here. That's
Yeah.
kind of a side effect of what you're doing. Like the roads are always the primary objective of why you're doing
But
the
it's
video.
also things on the roads,
Right,
that are visible
right.
to the camera, and
Yeah.
if I could figure out some way to get, a view of what's on the sides, I'd do that too, but that's getting probably a little bit too technical and too complicated for me, but,
Yeah.
you still, that was one of the original things, and it's in our intro, that our original channel trailer was, if you ever driven down a street and thought back to what it looked like 15, 20 years ago, I hope that in 15, 20 years people will be able to come back and look at our videos and say, wow, that's how that looked in, 2016.
And we've
Look
had
at you.
people ask us, hey, I lived in X place 15 years ago, could you do a video?
Mm.
We've done it.
Yeah.
If it is within our, reasonable capabilities to do it, we'll do it. And, I mean, I wish that we had something like this 10 years ago, 15
Yeah.
years ago.
Right.
And that's when we're doing our videos, that's what I can't wait, God, willing, in 20 years to look back.
Well, in
at these
20 years,
videos
in 20 years, that's when we start running the same routes over again.
Yeah.
that We've run on these, and then
kinda
you
see-
can do a side-by-side comparison of the
Right.
two, and
That-
that's where you really see the drastic difference.
That's the interesting part.
Yeah.
Is if in terms of you seeing what the roads are like today, it'll be really cool to go back in retrospect and see
Exactly.
how much things have changed or not changed.
Oh, that Prius
Yeah.
still looks like the same car. Oh,
Yeah. One last thing for you guys.
Yeah.
Where do you see this channel a few years from now? In terms of the places you visit, the size of your following, and whatnot. Where would you like to be?
well, of course, YouTube famous. And
Number one on YouTube.
Of course, yes.
Yeah, I don't know if we're in the right genre to ever be YouTube famous, but as far as the places we'd like to go, the places we like to video, obviously we're going to have to start expanding outward because we're going to run out of stuff to do locally.
Yeah.
There is a finite number of roads and neighborhoods and stuff to video in New Orleans, so we're going to have to expand outward. I'd like to have video in all 50 states at some point, but I mean that may not be for a very long time.
Right, yeah.
That
That's a
gets
lot of-
expensive, and
Yeah.
you can't just hop in the car and do that anymore. You got to hop on a plane and then
Yeah.
rent a car or something like that to get
Right.
road trip videos once you start getting a certain distance away. I mean,
Yep.
it's not a full-time thing, but as far as our viewers,
I've never really wanted to, I don't really think about that. I just want to keep the viewers interested.
right,
And, if our content is interesting, the viewers will come.
yeah.
Yeah.
And the viewers are coming, and we get a subscriber every day or two, and the number's growing, and the number grows faster as we add more videos and people get.
Wanted to, I don't really think about that. I just want to keep the viewers interested.
Right.
And, if our content is interesting, the viewers will come.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the viewers are coming, and we get a subscriber every day or two, and the number's growing, and the number grows faster as we add more videos and people get interested. I still think that there's only a limited number of people that are going to be interested in this, but new people get on YouTube for the first time every day, so we'd like to be able to reach everybody that's actually interested in this.
Right, yeah.
So,
And we'd like to, everybody that's interested in this genre, we'd like them to be able to, spend those 7 minutes and 38 seconds on our channel and actually say they enjoyed them
yep.
and that they want to do it again.
And I think you guys are doing a fantastic job so far of doing that, of documenting the roads of the Gulf Coast, New Orleans, and points beyond.
Oh, thank you.
And,
We actually were inspired by your work.
Well,
I'm in awe.
It's an honor, and I guess I'm doing something right if that's the case.
Absolutely.
So, Jason and Kari, they are the co-founders of 504 Road Trips on YouTube. It's been great having you both here.
Well, it's
Thank you very
great
much.
having you here too, and we
Thank
hope
you
you
for having
enjoy
us.
we hope you enjoy your visit to New Orleans, and thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time.